Welcome to Ray Castro's Adventure. This is Ray Castro in Tampa, Florida, home of the world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Welcome to my new channel. This is my very first episode, so if I fumble a little bit, this is good. This is all about me being me. Just want to cover today how to install the Lightning Kayak Quick Disconnect Lock on a Yak Gadget, Vibe Shearwater 125 kayak. All right, so the first step, or before we cover the first step, I actually want to cover what the essential things you're going to need as for tools and parts you're going to need to accomplish this. The first thing that comes to mind is the tape. You're going to need auto body blue tape. You're going to need stainless steel 2-inch bolts. These have Allen heads, so they're 2 inches stainless steel by 20, I believe. Washers are very important. Always want to put washers on your bolts, as well as nylon. Everything's going to be stainless steel, so it's going to be stainless steel washers and nylon nuts. You're going to need a razor to cut your tape. You're going to need some marine sealant, because there's going to be some holes left over from this original lock that we're going to need to seal up. So that's very important. Always want to seal all your holes. You're going to need a 3/16 Allen wrench. You're going to need a jigsaw. There's going to be some cutting involved. 2 hand clamps, 2 clamps to clamp your board, as well as your cutting board. You're going to need, you can order the cutting board from, I got mine from Amazon. I can post a link if you like. 2 inches. You can pick any color you want. I chose red because Team Tsunami rocks. Now moving on. By the way, I did not create this template. This template was created by Danny Santos, so I definitely want to give a big shout out to Danny Santos. He's our admin on our Vibe Facebook Shearwater 125 group. If you're not part of it, sign up as soon as possible. All right, the first thing we're going to do is uninstall the original locks. Super simple. If you see these screws here, let's go ahead and flip this over. I'm going to point this out. Let me take this template out. It's going to probably fall out. It's a pretty tight fit. I'll just leave it on. I've sealed my original holes up, but they're going to be Phillips head screws here that you're going to need to take out. Once you take these out, it's not going to fall out. These notches here that are going to be filled here soon are going to be for the base of the actual lock. There's these little notches, these little stands that slide into those notches. Take them out, and don't throw away the locks. We're going to need the locks later because we're going to make use of this actual lock notch. Okay, so now since we've already taken out our locks, let's put those off to the side. Next step is we're going to create our template. Our template is going to be created out of the tape, blue auto body tape. Let me go ahead and show you guys here. I think right here you should be able to see. You're just going to line your tape up on the interior portion of this assembly, bottom assembly. Make a good note that your finished product is going to be at least 1/8 of an inch on the inside perimeter of this base. If it's flush mounted to the edge, you're going to have issues with your drive actually sitting in the pod. So make a special note about that. Once we've finished the template, it should look like this. We're going to transfer this template over to a cutting board. To your cutting board, we're going to clamp your cutting board. You're going to clamp your cutting board onto your work area. Make sure it's protruding away from the table, so when you're cutting with the jigsaw, you're not actually cutting into the table. And always cut away from yourself. It's just safety first. When you're cutting, you're gonna not worry about cutting the notches, but you're more concerned about cutting the outside perimeter shape. So you're going to cut the outside squared off shape. Once you've done that, you can transfer your finished product or your product over to back on the table, clamp it back on, and next you're going to cut the notches. Take your time with the notches. They seem difficult, but it really isn't. all you have to do is just cut small notches, cut small little notches within this notch, small little lines. It's going to be start from the outside in, finishing at the line. Try not to surpass the line. And then with the jigsaw, go at an angle from corner to corner, and you can cut these notches out. Once you have done that, you can clean that up later with a file or sandpaper, and then repeat that step on each notch. Once you finish those steps, you can start with a file, and you can clean up this edge all the way around, or sandpaper, either one that you have in mind. From that point, once you're done cleaning up the edges, you should have a product. Your finished product should look somewhat like this. Time to test fit. Be very careful when you're installing this, because you can break these notches while installing them. There we go. Shorten first. Should drop right in. It should look like this. Give you a side view. Okay. Gonna install my other one here. All right, so now we have two, and you're gonna repeat the steps on the other side as well. Now you have two templates that are ½ inch higher than the platform. Now you've created your new platform. Next step is going to be moving this assembly over to 2 horses, 1 horse, a wooden horse on each side. And the meaning for that is because we're going to use our drive. This is the X drive with turbo fins. And we're going to install the drive all the way. We're going to install the drive and let it sit on these mounts. Your locks, this is a pretty, I think this should be a pretty good view for you. These locks should sit, I'm going to go give you this view and this view. Should sit about 1/8 of an inch to ½ an inch away from the body, the center housing. So once you test fit your drive, make sure it's already 1/8 inch. You can clamp the lock, or if you have a buddy working with you, have that person stabilize the locks for you, or you can stabilize them, because the drive will sit on the notches here, on the outside notches. It should balance itself out, and all you have to do is just put your locks into place, making sure the oval part is on the outside. Don't worry if it overlaps a little bit, because that's going to be sitting on the actual housing in your boat. Then draw out your holes with your permanent marker.